Just because you didn't get pregnant on this one ovulation doesn't mean that you cannot do it next month. So the uterus is also living in, like the fetus is living inside of the placenta. And the placenta is so strong, nothing can disturb the placenta. Like sex is something that we all do. We are all the desire to have sex as well. So it's very important that we talk about this subject.
Welcome to Tiny Tales,
where we explore the unique experience
that giving birth is to every woman.
We will hear the personal tales of women in Ghana who will take us on their journeys
to motherhood, from conception to birth,
to the first 3 months after the baby is born.
This season is sponsored and co-hosted by Gaia Organic,
your plug for fresh, healthy organic food in Jawulu, Accra.
Hello, my name is Amanda and I'll be your host for today's episode. Today we'll be talking to Ida, a sexologist, who will be speaking to us on conceiving, intercourse during pregnancy, and when it's also your first time. Welcome, Ida.
Thank you.
Thank you for gracing us with your presence, even though you have a very busy schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So what advice do you have for our viewers who want to get pregnant?
Well, my first advice for the viewers is if you want to get pregnant, you need to have a healthy base in your body. And that means eating healthy and taking good care of your mental health as well. It's also very important that you track your cycle and that you have fun while you're trying to get pregnant.
And who is a sexologist?
Well, a sexologist basically works with the whole being. So we all have a sexuality. We have this from when we are small children. We are born with it. So we basically focus on the whole being, the insecurities within the person. What is the sexual desires within this person? How do we carry ourselves in life? And we work with everything from basically teenage insecurities until like couples problems within how to have intercourse together. Like we can do it in classes, workshops, or private consultations.
Why is this topic so important?
Because we're all born with a sexuality.
Yeah.
So it's important to address who we are, what we want in life, and this all is based from our sexuality. Like sex is something that we all do. We are all the desire to have sex as well. So it's very important that we talk about this subject. And it's important that we're all comfortable talking about it as well and doing it as well.
When it comes to conceiving, what are the do's and don'ts?
So when it comes to conceiving, it's very important, as I said before, that you eat healthy. Because there is literally no chance for you to get pregnant or to conceive in any kind of way if you're not healthy and your fertile system is not working. We shouldn't force it upon ourselves. So it needs to come natural. So if you really want to conceive, it's important that you still take your time, you track your cycle, you have fun with it, that it doesn't become a duty, because if it becomes a duty, then it will not be natural, and then we naturally cannot conceive.
There are some false rumors out there about conceiving. So what do you have to say about those rumors?
Well, I think it's important to keep focus on our cycle as women. So a rumor could be that we can get pregnant whenever in our cycle. Like most women, we know that we cannot get pregnant under our periods.
Yes.
But it's also very important to know that there are several days of your whole cycle without you being on your period where you can still not get pregnant, because you need to get pregnant under your ovulation, which is really important. And that's only a very short time span within our cycle. So it's important to keep to not listen to rumors about that you can basically get pregnant whenever, and that it's actually very narrow the time where you can get pregnant.
Yeah. And also during ovulation, most people also try to get pregnant, but it doesn't happen during ovulation. Is that normal?
That's very normal. It's very normal that there can be something with the sperm and the egg exactly in that moment where it doesn't connect proper.
Okay.
So just because you didn't get pregnant on this one ovulation doesn't mean that you cannot do it next month.
Okay.
So it's very normal that it doesn't just happen like this. And that you have to give it some more tries.
Yes.
And this is why you have to make it funny, because it has to be a funny act that you actually want to keep on
continuing. Or you get stressed.
Exactly. and it's like, it can be stressful, of course, if you really want to get pregnant and it's not working. But then it's always like, all people, we work better under not stress, right? So we need to try to really not stress ourselves and just go with the flow and keep on having nice intercourse with our partners.
Okay. During pregnancy, is it safe to have intercourse?
It's very safe to have intercourse. Literally from the day you get pregnant, where you might not even know it, the month after you know that you're pregnant, you can keep on having sex until the baby comes.
Until the baby. So throughout the 9 months, you can
Throughout
actually.
the 9 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and even actually, because when you are supposed to give birth, there is the oxytocin, which is our happy hormone, it needs to be released within the body for you to actually be able to dilate enough for the baby to come out.
Wow.
So actually, even until like the hour before you give birth, you can even not have penetration sex, but you could still do oral sex. You can still do like kissing and caressing. You can still have sex in other ways, actually right up until you give birth, because this will help the baby to come out in even a better and more calm way.
Within this 9 months, you have penetration sex. Does it affect the baby in
Not
some
at
way?
all. Because there is the uterus mouth
Yes.
is so high up that the penis cannot even reach it.
Okay.
So there is literally our vagina is a certain length.
Okay.
So there is a limit of where the penis cannot go further than that.
Okay.
So the uterus is also living in, like the fetus is living inside of the placenta. And the placenta is so strong, nothing can disturb the placenta. So even when you're having sex and you think, oh no, I'm gonna poke the baby or whatever, then it's simply not possible, because the whole body is made so you can still enjoy while you're being pregnant.
Okay, what advice would you give to virgins? Okay, for their first time, yes. How do they prepare towards it? The emotions that come after or during, what should they expect?
Well, I think it's very important that we as parents, is that it's important that we educate our children. So when our children, they go out to have sex later on, that they know that there is not really anything wrong with the feelings that comes up and things like that. So they know. And also it's important as women and as men as well, that we know our own bodies. So let's say that you go out and have sex for the first time. If you yourself know what feels good in your body, you can guide your partner and say, okay, this feels good, this doesn't feel good. And automatically as women, if we get a good warm up, penetration and having intercourse with penetration is way more comfortable, because we need to have a good lubrication, and we need to also be very turned on, because otherwise our vulva and our vagina will basically not open. So to prepare ourselves and to actually learn our bodies, to know our bodies very well, so we can guide our partners.
Okay, but what steps do you think they should take to get to know their body? Because people don't even know how. Yeah,
I understand. Well, basically, I would create a safe place. Like I would maybe go to my room, I would start touching myself in different places, figure out what feels good, what doesn't feel good. So in general, masturbation for women and for men is quite important, because by touching ourselves, we will know how to show it to another person as well. So it's important. There's so much taboo about masturbation as well.
yes.
But how I see it very much is that how are you ever gonna be able to have nice sex with somebody if you cannot have it with yourself? I think it's very important that we create a future as well where it's normal for us to masturbate, because self-love needs to come before I love somebody else.
Exactly.
And this comes within relationships, and this also really amplifies in your sex life. So we need to always focus on ourselves first, and then we share ourselves with other people.
What advice would you give to parents? At what age do you think parents should talk to their kids about being sexual and expect what to expect? At what age would you think is more appropriate to?
Well, I think it's actually like already from when you're like baby is a toddler or whatsoever, it's important for them to know the genitals. Like they're walking around naked most of the time, they see their parents naked, so it's important that we just address it in a very normal way, so that they know, okay, this is a vulva, this is a penis, this is breasts, this is all these things. And then not to sexualize it in such a small age, but just that they know, okay, this is the genitals, and this is what we use for pee-pee, caca, all these things. But then when they're older, I think around, like when they start being sexually active, it's very different, the age of when we start to be sexually active. But I think around the early teenage years, it's very good for the parents to sit down and have a talk about what to expect when they fall in love with somebody or these kinds of things.
I'll speak in a Ghanaian sense. Sometimes talking to your kids about being sexual and these genitals and most parents have the idea that once you talk to them about it, their minds go towards it. So
Yeah.
okay, let me try and see.
Yeah.
So most parents are actually scared
Mm-hmm.
to open up to their
Mm-hmm.
kids about sexuality and all
Yeah.
that. What would you advise that they how would you advise they go about it?
I think
So
it's
as not to sexualize it too
yeah, I
much.
understand. I think this is actually one of the rumors that is not really true, because if we have this feeling that we are putting it upon them when they're so small, I think we take our own story onto our children.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important as grown-ups and as parents, and especially to young women, that we keep our own sexual stuff to ourselves.
Yeah.
And we don't put that on them. So that you kind of model a conversation where you don't encourage them to go out and have intercourse right now, because there's no reason for it, but that you encourage them to tell them that it's a very big part of how it is when you fall in love with somebody. Like when you fall in love with somebody, when there's somebody that you just cannot stay away from, that it's normal that you have sex with them. But of course, you're not just supposed to go out and have sex with whomever.
Exactly.
But to kind of keep the conversation in a way so you keep it like between you and your child, so you talk about it, but that you don't say, okay, go out and experience it.
Yeah, okay.
So that it's kind of, without encouragement.
Okay.
Because just you having the conversation is not you encouraging your child to go out and do so. So yeah.
And I think also talking to your child about it will also make them more comfortable to come to you for advice and be like, okay, this is what I'm feeling for this one. So do you think I should do this or that? Yes, because if you don't talk to them about it, then they start hiding things from you.
Exactly, and then they can go out having sex with somebody they might not like that much. They come home, they shut down sexually as well, and also their personality, everything shuts down, and they don't open up to the parents.
Yes.
So it's very important that we create a safe space about it, like you're saying.
Okay. So thank you very much, Ida. This was very eye-opening, because where I come from, we don't talk much about these things. So I think most African parents should also open their minds to discussing these issues with their kids. Yes, these topics. What I took from this conversation is understanding my cycle if I want to get pregnant, knowing my body to enjoy intercourse. In a nutshell, I have to love myself to be able to love anyone else. Also, that no topic should be a taboo. This way, your child won't have to hide things from you. If you send them away or rebuke them for talking about things like genitals and intercourse, they will rely on the wrong channels for this very delicate topic, intercourse. We want to hear your thoughts, feedback, and possibly questions, so please leave us a comment. Thank you, Ida, and all of you who are watching at home. This show is created and hosted by Tiny Releases.